Hello, friends. Today we are going to discuss 10 principles of flow time therapy that help in play based learning of a child. Rule number 1: isolated sensory tasks really don't help the child. It is better to add an activity along with it to make it more meaningful for them. For example, as part of sensory task, if the child is rolling, you can ask them to draw blocks at the other end in a bowl, in a basket, or throw it in a tub so that the activity becomes more meaningful. Here, emotional regulation is more important than sensory regulation because if the child is dysregulated, is not interested in the activity, it is really not going to benefit the child. Rule number 2: it is always mentioned that try to follow the lead of the child. It does not mean that if the child is jumping from one activity to another, you are supposed to follow them. Instead, whatever activity has been started, make it so enticing for the child that they would want to do it, they would not want to leave it, and even if the next time you are presenting the same activity, they would still want to do. For example, the child is tapping blocks together and you start doing the same. And after that, you build a tower and knock it down. The child will observe exactly how you produce that sound and may try to replicate. Rule number 3: rhythm of the activity is important. If you present the activity to a child and simply direct them to do it, they might not be interested. Instead, if you provide choices that among these three activities, you can select any you like and wait for their response, then a reciprocal relationship is developed. And mind it, the child may not verbally tell you, I want to do this activity, but just pick up elements or parts of one of the activities. So let them continue that and remove the remaining. Rule number 4: try to avoid asking questions repeatedly, as questions can provoke anxiety in the child, make them lose their confidence in the activity because they are not able to answer you back or process your information, and eventually end up losing interest. Comment on how they are performing the activity. Wow, you put all the red colors together. Wow, you are making such a long line of cars. With these comments, the confidence of the child is increased, and then you can intermittently add up questions of yes or no, or with simple choices. Which car would you like to take next? Rule number 5. Why is it important to give choices to the child? Because it allows for expression of ideas. If you provide them only with the block activity, their choice is taken away. Instead, if you give them 3 choices, we have toy animals, toy blocks, and toy cars. What would you like to take? They might want to combine them. For example, jumping toy animals over the blocks. Rule number 6. There is a difference between attention seeking and emotion seeking. If you're giving the child 2 hours of continuous activity, then they might get tired. The dysregulation might start within 20 or 30 minutes because they do not want to continue. They want some break in between. Even if you give movement breaks in between, that might not even help because they're not ready for 2 hours of attention. Instead, break it down to 20 to 30 minutes of activity in different sections throughout the day. If it is spread out, it gets more emotional time with the parent because the child won't be burdened, the parent won't be burdened in one time. The child will be able to interact better with the parent, and the emotional regulation will also be seen. Rule number 7. Try to make the activity more interactive for the child rather than repetitive. So simply asking them to put blocks from one bowl to another may not be interesting. Instead, you can tell them, ooh, which piece of puzzle do you want next? Where did it go? So one of those pieces you are hiding behind you, or it is placed in some other location in the room. They can go and retrieve it. In a similar way, they're playing with their toy cars and they're quite aware of how many cars they have. Where did your red car go? So it is under the furniture because you have pushed it before. So they try to retrieve it independently, which also helps with their problem solving. Rule number 8. How to progress the play of the child. We can start with the form of object-based sensory play. The child is simply dropping blocks in front of their eyes. You also start doing that, followed by trying to speak in one of them, so making it like a symbolic play, or holding it to your ear like a phone, so it turns into a symbolic activity. Also introduces the element of pretend play. Later on, they can make it more abstract by trying to create different designs with the blocks, which you can show them how to make initially rather than just giving them blocks and expecting them to know how to do the activity. Abstract thinking can further be introduced with the help of more pretend play activities. For example, you try to work with animal walks with the child. So the child is walking like a camel, and you try to show a flashlight saying there is too much sunlight. Now the camel is falling down because he is dehydrated. Give them some water. The camel becomes energetic, gets up again, and starts walking, and the flashlight goes off. Rule number 9. Add challenges to make the activity interesting. Challenge does not mean increasing the number of steps to 20 or 30 or maybe 50. Instead, in the existing activity, add challenges. For example, the child likes to play a lot with toy cars. They go down an incline, so the child tries to catch them. Or they see where the car goes and tries to follow them, so it develops visual tracking also. And the final rule number 10. Try to expand the comfort zone of the child. It could be related to a common place where child likes to do activities or play. It could be with a specific parent they are more comfortable. Change that form. For example, try to take activities in different sections of the house. Some kitchen-based activities, some bathroom-based activities, some bedroom, some in the living room, and so on. Similarly, the child is used to doing activities only with one parent. So you can introduce the element where the other parent just comes in and observes the first day. After a few days, part of the activity can be shared between the two parents so that the child is more comfortable doing activities with multiple people. Let me know in the comments below if you found these rules of floor time therapy informative and applicable to your child. Any queries or suggestions that you might have, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell icon for notifications. We'll meet again soon.